Breaking news, John Boehner, Speaker of the House, only for another month, though, announced surprisingly that he is stepping down not only from that position, but he is walking away from Washington, D.C. altogether after a storied career. Now this leaves up who's going to take his place, who's going to win this battle within the Republican Party, which is being torn by different ideologies. Most of them, there's a lot of common ground, but the ideologies are so strong and so passionate on all sides that the party is in disarray, and I think this exemplifies that. This underscores just the kind of challenge that's facing them. On one hand, you have social conservatives meeting today at the Values Voters Summit, and this is how they reacted to the announcement that John Boehner was stepping down. We had Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio address the crowd.
You want to know how much each of you terrify Washington? Yesterday, John Boehner was Speaker of the House. You all come to town and somehow that changes. My only request is, can you come more often? Tony, we need to schedule these weekly, once a week.
Just a few minutes ago, Speaker Boehner announced that he will be resigning.
That is what you call jubilation. Those are your core Republican voters who I guess the one word that probably sums it up, Phil, betrayed by John Boehner, by others that they've elected over and over again, that promised them over and over again to fight. I think it's not about necessarily winning these fights. I think people can do the math, people understand the numbers, but the idea is that you never put up a fight. You never challenge President Obama. You never challenge his agenda. You've got the Iranian deal that's going through. You've got this budget deal that's going through. You've got the immigration deal that's going through. You've got a lot of things going on that actually have emboldened this president to become more just more tenured, if you will, to the nation. And it's not just these core voters, but to the nation. It's because of Republicans. A lot of people feel the establishment, the guys who've been there as long as John Boehner, have just become part of the problem and not the solution. And we saw that is an amazing scene when you see them stand up like that and cheer. Want to ask a staunch Democrat how they feel about all the news, and we've got a good one. Leslie Marshall, radio talk show superstar, is on the line with us. Leslie, what's your feelings about this news?
Well, they say the devil you know is better than the devil you don't, Charles. I wasn't surprised entirely because there's been a push from Republicans inside the House, certainly inside the Beltway and outside by voters, to have somebody new who would push their agenda. The problem is, quite frankly, when you say there's no pushback on Obama, what were those numerous legislative votes on repealing and replacing Obamacare about while John Boehner was Speaker? I think if you look at just the numbers, Charles, Boehner, quite frankly, is more in line with the majority of the Republican mindset. Now, how many of those Republicans are voters? Obviously, we're going to see in November 2016.
Well, Leslie, the fact that you're defending John Boehner probably underscores why we're watching these scenes of him walking away from the one of the most coveted jobs on Capitol Hill. But we do have some major issues coming up, and a lot of his the dissent against John Boehner, a lot of them thinking that this Planned Parenthood situation, which the videos have been horrific. I don't know anyone who would try to defend the videos, and certainly the notion of what's behind those videos, that this is the moment in time that they draw a line in the sand, and it's not necessarily about the votes per se, but the message that we're going to stand up on principle for something that should matter to all Americans. Do you think this should be the top, or do you think maybe the next person that takes this position, Speaker of the House, will go through with this and sort of draw that line in the sand?
You know, Charles, it really depends if they want to repeat history and if they want to commit political suicide. And I say that because although the majority of Americans classify themselves via the polls as pro-life, the majority of those pro-lifers also don't want to take away the choice and the legal abortion practice. I think most people, whether they're pro-choice... Wait, Charles,
take away people's rights? We're talking about federal money going to an organization that they've talked about cutting up baby parts with a glass of Chardonnay on the side. I mean, give me a break, Leslie. This is not about taking away abortion rights per se. This is about us funding an organization that's lost its way, that's corrupt, and to be quite frank with you, some of its members are sickening.
Charles, if you'd let me finish, that would have been wrapped up in a pretty bow. Here's what I'm saying. The American people have, especially with sound bites, I think the perception that Planned Parenthood is the only federally funded clinic in the United States that performs abortions. That is not correct. Also, as you heard the Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, say yesterday, this would be for a one-year period. This would not be permanent. And in addition to that, when you look at the breakdown in numbers, abortion services at Planned Parenthood specifically are less than 3% of the services provided. And we also know that federal funds are not paying for that 3 or less percent of those services. So do we want to possibly have a government shutdown? Do we want to take that taxpayer money and hurt not just federal employees but businesses in and around Washington and Virginia, Maryland, inside and around that beltway over something for 1 year that federal funds do not go toward? That
Leslie,
is less than 3% of the practices of that one clinic.
Because first and foremost, you know, it's interesting that this is all happening while the Pope is visiting, and we are reminded of the sanctity of life. And you know, if there's anything that anyone would stand up for, to me, this would be it. You know, the idea that, listen, we may have to close a few national parks, and that's an inconvenience. The idea that we may have to stop a bloated government that spends every nickel that they get and another nickel they didn't get, that would be a bad thing. I think maybe perhaps you're going to have enough voices to say, if we can't fight over this particular issue, and by the way, money is fungible. Whatever Planned Parenthood gets from the federal government, we don't know exactly where it goes, but we know it helps the overall organization. If it's 3%, it's 3%. If it's 20, it's 20. The bottom line is, there's enough private money out there to perform all the abortions that anyone wants, and that the federal government should not have its hands in this.
Well, Charles, one of the things, again, and I've always said, I think we go at this from a wrong direction. If people want to prevent abortion, whether at Planned Parenthood or anywhere else, prevent the pregnancy.
Funding abortion.
And quite frankly, education, no, prevent the pregnancy. Without a pregnancy, there's no need or desire or choice, quite frankly, for an abortion. But to defund Planned Parenthood does not prevent abortion. To defund Planned Parenthood does not prevent fetal tissue from being researched at any other clinic. And to defund Planned Parenthood, I don't think we'd be talking about if it weren't an election year, a year from November.
From defunding it and the other stuff you talked about, a lot of that, hey, listen, liberals stopped making it cool to have babies out of wedlock. Maybe we wouldn't have these problems either, you know, but that's a different story, yeah. I got to let you go, Leslie.
You're giving us a lot of power, Charles. We made it cool. We made it cool.
All right, we've got to, hey, thanks a lot, Leslie. We got to go back to Blake, though.